A long, dark-haired figure sits cross-legged in a chair, belonging to 13 others. I do love what you guys do here. It's very fun, very weird, and the figure stands up, their hood dropping back off of their head. But it's just not my style. The head of Gravvicon smiles at this guest. Well, then I guess it's a good thing I'm not inviting you here to stay. But I do have a bit of a game I'd like to play. And I hear the God of Chaos is one for games. And the traveler smiles. So, what might we be up to today? I'd simply like you to play at being one of us. Not an invitation or a request of sorts, just a game. I'd like to give you one member of Gravvicon, to use as you see fit, to explore the realms and alter anything you'd like. They will be powered by you, no longer connected to me. And I just want to see what happens, don't you? And for a moment, the God of Chaos smiles, thinking over this offer. And then he looks back. So, what's in it for you? Well, only time will tell. And he turns and motions, and the two doors open, granting entry to a long-standing member of Gravvicon. I'd like to introduce you to your new employee. Please welcome. And in walks a white-haired changeling with stars beneath their skin. Strolling on in, I'd like to introduce you to Nebula Gravvicon. And for a moment, the God of Chaos pauses. Gravvicon? I thought only the ones who were allowed to have that name were members of... No need to spoil the fun. So, Nebula, it has been an honor having you serve here. But, as of today, you shall be working for the Traveler. Serve him well, and I look forward to seeing you back one day. And with a twist of his wrist, the God of Chaos and Nebula Gravvicon were no longer within the halls. But you guys just woke up, and it was a wild, wicked dream state that you guys, you had. Well, I guess maybe you guys haven't discussed that yet, because you just woke up. And all 5 of you wonderful people are awake and ready to rock and roll.
Gallagher does like the backflip, like kickstand up onto his feet, and is like,
okay, so that happened, right? What happened? Why are we back here?
Bucket's gonna bolt up and he's just gonna be like, I hate it here. We need to go see that goddamn snake child.
Wait, we need to do our best friend ceremony again.
We do. Bucket's gonna drop on his knee and he's gonna wave his hand in another ring, but a little more ornate one this time. A little one with a little engraving with it's gonna say B heart G on the inside band, and he's gonna go, Gallagher, will you be my best friend?
Thank you so much.
Best friend.
Besto friendo.
Counterspell.
Put it on. Best friend time.
All right, I feel more comfortable now knowing that has happened. I'm much more calm. Oh, I guess we gotta go there to see that little snake. Wait, was Was the person that we saw then real?
I look at the door as I wake up, and I just clutch my fist as my mage hand appears and opens the door, just to make sure the child isn't standing out there like there was last time.
And as you open the door, someone goes, hello?
Never mind. I close the door back on him.
Yeah. As you heard the voice of David in the hallway. Well, you wouldn't know that because you haven't met David.
Which is why I said never mind.
Yeah, but the other members would have heard David's voice come from the hallway and say, hello? And then the door shut on him.
Look, so we know where to go. Do we even involve the kid?
No.
No, right? We just go.
I say we don't trust anyone. At this point, we don't even know if this is real. We can assume only it could be because the person in that cave wants us to go there. So we can assume this is real, but we can't trust anyone else.
So do we just send the kid on his way then? Tell him to...
No, we
Go
keep
and take a
the
load off.
kid here because we don't want him knowing we already know where the Snake King is.
But wouldn't that be suspicious then? I feel like we need the kid to come with us in order to maintain our story.
Well, the Snake King already knows we're going there. He told us to come, didn't he?
But other people don't, right? If we just go there, people will figure it out. Or am I being
So?
confusing? At this point, I'm too confused.
Dr. Proxima, any ideas?
I think that David needs to come with us,
Well, and,
if only because he is our way into
And-
whatever this is.
and he could validate whether or not what we saw in the dream was actually right. Because we
Exactly,
could be
that
being
is-
led astray into a trap, and, maybe David knows a way around it.
Have we checked the book since we woke up?
I guess I'll pull out the book. Nothing's changed? Nothing's changed?
Yeah, nothing's changed.
All right.
Bucket, roll an intelligence check when you read the book.
Intelligence, gotcha. I'll just roll That is a plus intelligence, right? +3. That is a 19. I'm smart.
Excellent. And yeah, when you flip through, nothing's changed in the book. Again, there's still that symbol that, doesn't quite make any sense. And in that moment, your brain just kind of thinking over, as you slept on it, you think back to some of the pages from the walls that you couldn't quite see. And it's very frustrating that you can't understand the language. Like something inside of you is just like you feel like, and you push it aside, but for a brief moment, you're just very frustrated at the inability to read that.
I've been frustrated, but okay.
Yeah. And that feeling comes back up.
Was it gone? Okay. I guess I guess I'll just look at everyone else and be like, I am so frustrated right now.
Why? What is wrong? I mean,
'Cause-
given the circumstances.
There's something about this book and the notes I've done. I'm gonna pull out like all the pages of like stuff I took off the walls, and I'm gonna like spread it out on I'm like, everyone come over here, and I'm gonna like lay the book in the middle. I'm gonna start like yarn walling the thing. Be like, this is somehow correlated, obviously, because there's something in the book that we can't understand more than what we're seeing, just like in this text.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Do you think that maybe the Serpent King can maybe help us decipher it? He's got enough power to get into all of our minds at once.
I mean,
Yeah,
do we
who
have?
knows?
He might be the one hiding it from us. Who knows?
At the end of the day, we have to go there one way or another.
All
Whether
right.
that's with David or not.
Taika, you have the final say on this. What do you think?
I think we got to take the kid. We got to keep the alibi, and then we can also double check to make sure that the way that we think we're going is the way that David knows to go.
All right.
Okay. I think that is what we have to do, but and Proxima sort of like looks around at everybody, like, let's be careful. This is getting to be significantly bigger than I think any of us thought this was. So let's be careful.
Quick question, just because I'm having the biggest brain fart today. David was, because we were in the dream, we were with David, and David became the Snake King, or am I just remembering that completely wrong?
No,
No, David just led you, and then David just kind of disappeared in the cave, and a different boy was in there.
It was a different boy. I thought for some reason I think it was the same boy. Okay, that makes sense.
That was the boy from the cart, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yes, we will take David as far as we need to go. And eventually we will set him free. Now, let's keep the alibi.
All right. Tycho walks over to the door and opens it back up. Hey, David, are you still out there?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, I didn't want to wake you guys, but King Julian actually wanted to meet you all. He told me to come fetch you.
Yeah, I bet he did.
But I didn't want to wake you guys up, so I just kind of hung outside.
While this is happening, I'm gonna go get Alunan and Amir.
Yeah, certainly. They would be downstairs, and you're able to go down and head to where they were. And when you come down the stairs, they have cleaned up, it seems. Like the beast is missing, and you find Alanon and Amir just kind of, Amir kind of dozing against the wall, but not quite asleep. Like as you enter, Amir's eyes open and look in your direction, and then he just kind of leans back. And Alunan says, good morning, Bucket.
Good morning. Did any of you sleep last night?
Well, a bit of meditating, but I don't quite require too much sleep.
Well, any strange dreams or anything?
And immediately Amir looks over at you and squints.
Can I take that as a yes, then?
So, little kid, climb a mountain,
Through the
creepy
fog,
mist.
in
Yeah.
the cave, and then nothing.
Okay. So, I thought I was just having a rough go of things.
We're about to start that trip once again. Would you like to come?
Well, I suppose I would like to know what it means.
Then we shall.
And she makes a joke. I'll try not to fall off the cliff this time, huh?
I don't know. Bucket's gonna be like, I don't want to be mean now, and he's just gonna walk away.
And she stands up and begins walking with you, and so does Amir. And still left on the wall is that swirled pattern, like someone had melted the brick and swirled it.
What happened to the dude that we saved a couple episodes ago?
Jerry has been taken to Jerry's been taken to sort of the infirmary here, as you had healed and taken care of that, but they still have him resting up in one of the rooms here.
Should we talk to him, guys, or?
I think he needs.
Yeah,
rest.
I think we need to just find King Julian. Like at this point,
I'm half tempted to punch King Julian.
Just fucking fall off.
Okay, so what? Now that you've gathered Amir and Alunan, and they make their way up with you to the rest of the party. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all rested well. Or, I guess we all had the weird, strange dream thing, huh?
Moderately, yes.
Cool. Would love to know what that was about. So, shall we go find out?
I guess so.
David, lead the way.
Right this way. We'll be going out of town, but it's not very far. And David leads you out of town. And as you're heading out of town, make a perception check.
Again.
Ooh. Let's go.
27.
26.
A dirty 20.
19.
Saw the shit out of this stuff.
And for Doc,
Sorry. You said perception, right?
perception. Yep.
19.
Okay. So yeah, every one of you going about, you're kind of looking for some of the similar things that you encountered in the dream. And you'll notice that the new S is still there, and that hasn't disappeared. And the layout of everything is exactly as you recall. But anyone who got above a 21, so I know Gallagher did, and who else? Who got a 21 or up?
Tycho.
And Tycho. Tycho and Gallagher, as you're walking, you note a young boy running with some of the other kids. And across his ankles, a red bit of leather around his boots. And he runs off with some of the other kids, and you catch him pickpocket someone with the group and moves about, and then vanishes off with the other kids.
Gallagher's gonna like tiptoe up beside Proxima and be like,
Any reason why your dad might be a child?
Not that I can think of, but at this point, I don't know what is real and what is not anymore, so let us stick close.
Your dad
yes?
works for Gravvicon, correct?
I don't know. I think maybe he must
Stands
have...
to reason that he can change his form like all of us to an extent.
Yes.
Keep an eye out for a kid with red leather boots.
All right. I will do that.
Gallagher's confident, but just so the record, Offbeat Outlaw is not.
Are there
red leather, yellow leather?
Yeah, I'm like, get it right. Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that one. The struggle was real.
Yeah.
While they're talking, Doc's gonna get sidled next to Alanon, and just hands behind his back, very chill. And he says, "My apologies. This may seem very random. You are a studied practitioner of the arcane art, right? Or is it?"
Yes, I am, or I was. Well, I guess technically I still am. I just may not be known to others.
Well, that's not the most important part. Being known isn't necessarily a hit at your own capabilities, but past that, I was just curious. Being in this new place, I'm sure, have a spell book. Wondering if we could potentially do some cross-examining of our spells, learn something from each other.
Oh, certainly. I'd be delighted to. Mine is not a typical spell book, I must admit, but it still can be read.
You are barking up, how do they say, the wrong tree. As I just hold my hand up and you see one of the numbers on my hand, and then you see the rest going down. Mine is all over me, actually.
Exciting. And you see a bit of flame hop from hand to hand. And as she hops it from hand to hand, back and forth, it begins to create a bit of an image in between hers. Mine is up here. And she, with minor illusion, is casting an image of a spell that she has memorized.
Perhaps we could learn a lot from each other.
I have a bit of a photographic memory when it comes to magic.
I must admit, my memory fails me from time to time, but I'm sure I can learn.
You've got it right there. So, plus, I mean, if you copy it down, you don't need it. I just don't have to carry the extra luggage so long as it's up here.
I understand that one. Perhaps when we are finished with this thing, we can take some time.
Absolutely. Perhaps we have a bit to learn from this child king?
Whatever they might be.
And yeah, you guys have decided that you're going to trade some spells.
Totally was not a euphemism.
Yeah. Oh, very, very much. And considering you were...
Raphael's definitely hitting on your dad bucket. Your
My
mom.
dad.
Yeah.
I was saying Raphael's going to be your dad because they're going to study it all over his body.
So, yeah, absolutely. And you are all led to the outskirts of town. And sure enough, as you round the corner, there is the mist between you and the mountains.
David, is there any strange thing about this mist? It seems to be located precariously in this forest.
Well, not really. I mean, sometimes like people say they see stuff in it, but
Do you
usually...
Do you ever see anything?
I have before, once or twice, but that's when there was an animal out there, and I think the mist warned me about it. I saw something, and it was like someone told me to run. But lots of people have stories like that out here.
I'm not particularly fond of breathing anything in that isn't the clean air, so if you don't mind, Gallagher's going to break out into a sprint as fast as he can through the forest.
All right, yeah, to run through the fog, absolutely.
Question, how high does the fog go?
Yeah, so the fog actually covers most of what you can see. So it's about 20 feet high. Like, it looks like it peels off the mountain, and at about 20 feet is just coming straight out towards the town and then just stops towards the gate. But only the back gate. And you were saying something, Proxima?
I was gonna ask, did Gallagher sprint off more than 30 feet ahead of us?
He sprinted off his whole movement and action, so that's 80 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, so he bolted.
All right.
This is in 6 seconds, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna hold the action that I was gonna do.
Excellent. And you all head into the fog?
Before we get in, Taika turns to Raphael. Doctor, and do you have anything of you can do? You can roll stuff back. Do you have any? We've already done this before. Do you have anything up your sleeve? Sorry, no pun intended. But do you have anything maybe up your sleeve to stop any illusions if they do happen?
Unfortunately, I cannot protect from illusory images, but I'm wondering if I can get over it.
Okay.
But I also don't want to leave you all behind, so...
I think that sometimes in the face of uncertainty, the best thing that we can do, the best thing possible, is to bolster ourselves. It is to steel our resolve, and it is to prepare for whatever may come as a team. And with that being said, I'm going to cast Aid on the 3 in sight. So Bucket, Taika, and Doc. You're gonna get a thing. You're gonna get what do you get? You get your maximum hit points and your current hit points increased by 10.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Nice.
As this magic kind of washes, well, not gonna steal Crystal's thunder, but what does it look like?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I should just paint a picture with my words. Dungeons and Dragons. So Proxima kind of she bows her head, and her sort of like blue tinged magic sort of like just gathers in her hands, and it just like very gently, like almost surprisingly so, kind of comes to rest above all of your head in kind of this like little like fiery ball thing, and it kind of like cascades over you like somebody broke an egg on your head, but like in a nice way. And you feel kind of, you know, just like a and you get 10 little bonus HP. So there you go.
Excellent.
That's like a quarter of my health, so they're not little. Don't worry. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
But Doc, as this happens, he says, "While those were very kind words, and I'm sure we will all take them to heart, I think one thing to be noted, in times of uncertainty, we are certain what will happen in this fog. We just have to make sure we can now combat what we know. That's all I can say." And then he'll begin to walk in.
Taika follows.
All right, Bucket.
Yep.
And Alanon and Amir head in right behind you. Gallagher, being the one who's sprinting forward, you already know the direction you need to go. And this time through the fog, it's not really so much of a fog as it is a mist. Like, you can still see everything. You can see ahead of you as you're running. The path is not obscured, and you're able to run and run and run. And eventually you come out on the other end, and nothing is strange, or nothing happens while you ran through and you made it to the other side. Now, were you one of the players who had gems or items on you? Did you have a ring? Oh, you do now, because it is adorned by, by Bucket. And the gems in that ring are glowing faintly, just giving off a little bit of light.
I keep it on, but I try and like tuck it underneath my hand wrap if possible, just to like hide it. He doesn't want to be ostentatious.
Okay. Yeah.
But he does give himself a fist bump and cast guidance on himself as he makes it through. He goes record time. And he's just going to sit and squat and wait for the rest of the party. He's going to cross his legs and meditate, I guess, while everyone comes through.
Yeah. And the rest of the party, you're all walking through just fine. And as you are walking through, though, Gallagher, you're outside of the mist. And suddenly things start to shift. There is like a shadow that moves through the mist. There is a large shadow that moves through. And then you start to see something with claws swiping, and then it just kind of fades away. That shadow falls apart. And something with fangs and claws hisses and jumps, makes that motion as it jumps towards and it falls again in the fog. And one last time, haunting figure claws in your direction. And then as it falls, the rest of the party walks right out of the mist. And at that exact spot, Amir walked out.
What?
Gallagher, are you okay? You look like you just seen a ghost.
I saw some sort of shapes or figures in the mist. But strangely enough, some sort of shadowy coalescence of a jaguar or a panther right over top of Amir there. I'm sure that's not foreshadowing, though. Or no.
And then he's just going to keep going, but he's going to now be continuously casting Shillelagh on his quarterstaff, just in case.
And Amir just shrugs it off and says, "Let's keep going," and keeps heading forward with you all. David brings you to those giant stone steps that are jutting out of the side of this path, which again, you have to climb up a little bit, and then you're walking 50 feet, and then you climb up another 5-10 feet, and then do it again. And yeah, as you're climbing, make an athletics check for me, everybody.
As right before we start climbing, I'm going to use a key point and summon my astral arms.
Sure.
So I can use those to climb instead of my abysmal regulars.
Certainly.
That's athletics.
Yep.
And I believe we have inspiration from chat.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I got a 9.
I got an 18.
22.
16.
What happened, Doc?
That's also a 9. Yeah,
Okay.
Oh. We
All
can. We
right.
both have inspiration. We could burn it.
I used it.
Oh god.
Oh.
I'm saving it. I'm saving mine.
And so all of you go to climb up, and Bucket and Gallagher and Taika all climb up, no problem. And the rest of you are making your way up, but at one point, some of the rocks do give way, and you slide. And Bucket notices the exact same spot where Alunon had fallen previously is where Proxima had just reached out and grabbed a rock, and it fell. And you watch as she falls down a few feet but catches herself. And Doc, climbing up on a different section, has a moment where their foot gives way and they are suddenly only hanging on by just their hands and are able to then find footing on something else, as the hike is a little bit more treacherous than you recall for the directions you went. And David calls back, are you guys okay? You got to be careful.
I am a master of time. I'm always careful. This was just outside of my foreseen. Don't talk about it.
I will not tell anyone if you do not tell anyone.
Well, we can take a break here if you'd like, as you recall the exact same spot you took a break last time.
I am okay to keep going. Do you all need to rest?
I'm good.
No. Let's move.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
All right. And David says, yeah, no, it's just a little bit farther. So yeah, no, a break not needed. And David keeps climbing and leads you up 2 more of those steps. And then over the top of the 3rd one, you can start to see the outline of a white tree in the distance.
I guess we'll all pull out a coin and throw it on, or I will at least.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you make your way up the 3rd step, and ahead of you is now, in fact, the white tree that you recall. And as you approach, do you all throw a coin down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A coin to your white tree.
in that moment of remembering that like detail from the dream, Proxima also looks down and realizes that her like pendant on her necklace has been glowing, and so she does the same thing and she kind of tucks it inside her cloak so as to avoid it shining out.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Doc's wedding ring is glowing, and he goes, Still don't know what that means. And he'll press to digitize it to just dim.
Cool.
Nice.
And Taika wants to start ritually casting detect magic as we climb up here and drop a coin, just to like have it on as we go into the cave.
Yeah, sure. And so you climb up here, and let's say you started that a little bit ago. So by the time you get to the tree, would you like it active?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to the tree, and you can see bits of magic running all throughout the roots of it. And it's one of those things that it's like the magic is running throughout the tree and into the soil and into the ground around it. But there is a straight line that leads back into the cave of just a line of magic, like a vein of it just running between the tree and the cave. And you can see enchantment magic on the tree.
Okay. And do the coins interact with that at all? Can I tell?
So as you had this on, as you were approaching, you saw the enchantment magic. Who would be the first one to throw a coin down? Bucket?
Yeah.
So yeah, Bucket walked up, knew what to do, pulled out a coin and threw it down even before David did. And David reaches in and throws a coin down himself. And as the two of them throw coins down, you see the coin hit the ground, and what almost look like spores of magic flutter up from the ground that only you can see, Taika. And they head over towards them. And begins swirling around them. As you can see, enchantment magic has followed over to them when they gave a gold coin to the tree. And the others that followed suit, that threw a coin down, you see the same thing. A sliver of enchantment magic has come to surround them. Very small, very little bit, but it has moved from the tree over to them. And that leaves you if you are going to throw a coin down.
Taika kind of like takes the coin, almost throws it. David, why do you people throw coins at the tree?
Well, King Julian says it's good luck. And a lot of great stuff has happened ever since I've been pretty lucky.
Taika flips the coin and grabs it, puts it in his own pocket. I'll try and make my own.
That's okay. But it's just inside. And yeah, you now head on in.
I'm gonna. I hate doing preemptive checks, but it's just money for me. I'm gonna do a quick perception check to see if I natural 20. Cool, great. I notice more than anything, Taika's just hanging back, and I noticed them cast detect magic, but I noticed the hanging back, and I just in their head, I don't turn around. In their head, they'll hear, "Is everything fine? You seem weary. What did you see?"
I'll kind of just like turn back and cruise over. I'm not like trying to hide the conversation, but not also speaking loudly. Look, every time you put a coin down, there's some enchantment magic gets passed on to you. So I don't know if it's part of the illusion, or he says he's been lucky ever since that happens. There's some control over him, but I'm good. I don't want that.
You think potentially it's a ruse to gain power using something enchanting us?
Yeah, I mean,
making us see.
They just said that, he's the kids. I'll follow him. Why? Maybe this has something to do with it.
Good to know. Thank you. I was curious myself, and that gives some weight to the curiosity.
No problem.
Yeah, he'll keep walking.
Okay. And yeah, you
keep
all
walking, but now that he knows this, he'll ritual cast detect magic himself, just so he can understand what's happening on the
Sure. And yeah, you walk into the cave, and heading in, it is dark again. But David grabs a stone off of the wall that is glowing and says, you can just grab one of these to light the way. It gets a little dark in here, but these things glow, so that's pretty cool. And David walks through holding up one of the stones, and there are just several jewels sitting off to the side, and they're glowing, and uses that to guide his way through the hall.
Gallagher's gonna use one of his astral arms and just get up and just hold it ahead of him by 10 feet.
Sure.
See.
And you all continue on, and up ahead you can see a familiar gold glow coming from a room on the left at the end of this cave. And you all proceed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And yeah, you come around, and as you get to the end of the area, David turns the corner and walks in, and as you follow, you see a familiar room with a throne in the middle and a brown-haired and freckled boy laying across of it. Almost looks like they're bored, with their legs over one end and their head just kind of bobbing over the other. And then they sit up and go, "Oh, you're here." And they stand up and say, "Welcome to my castle."
It's a pleasure. Let me do a trick for you really quick. And Taika pulls out his regular deck, does like a big shuffle, and he's casting Counter Charm, as it's a College of Creation feature. As an action, you can perform until the end of our next turn. During that time, me and all friendly creatures gain advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed.
Excellent.
Can I roll a perception check to see what his boots look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose I could also just look with my eyes, but it's fine. That's a 12.
Yeah, he's just got some standard. He's got some standard black boots on.
Raphael will say, I used to be a fan of checkers, of chess, things like that, but games aren't really my forte. Foreplay!
Thinking about Alunon again, Raphael?
Confirmed.
Move it. Games aren't really my forte anymore. What was the purpose of this?
Thank you, David. I thank you for bringing them. You are fantastic. Now, David, be safe on your way back. I'd like to have a chat with these fun people. Perhaps they'll help us with the next game. And this character has said such to David, and David says, yeah. And then he looks at Taika on the way out and he says, don't forget, you're supposed to teach me stuff.
As Taika is still doing card flourishes because I have to keep performing. I haven't forgotten, I promise.
And he walks out, and David leaves you there with this person. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I am Julian. I'm the king around here.
King of what?
Well, everything fun. And he motions around, and there are a couple of other kids like moving some stuff, like some loot, and they're like playing games in the background, and they've got banners hung up here where they've got like the serpent drawn on it, and there's just all sorts of things in this room, and his throne in the middle. People, they need fun. Fun is good for people. Otherwise, things get boring. And when things get boring, things get dangerous. So, fun keeps people from danger.
As he's speaking, those behind me will see something light up on my leg as I cast Detect Thoughts on myself. And I'm not going to peer deeper. I want to get his surface thoughts as he's speaking, what's not being said.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so this is just an ability, right? It just reaches right on in.
I mean, it's a spell, but I can use. It's not. I don't have to use a spell slot for it. When I cast a spell and as an action, I focus my mind on any one creature that I can see. I'm assuming he's within 30 feet. Is it within 30 feet?
Yeah, we'll say.
Okay. I initially learned the surface thoughts. What's on his mind at the moment? Things like that. And then as an action, if I want to, I can probe deeper and get some other stuff, but that will need a save. Right now, it's just getting surface thoughts as he's speaking to us, because most people aren't even hiding stuff like that quickly. So.
And crossing his mind is the thought, what do we have here? What are you really?
I'm going to almost like verbatim pass that thought to everyone else using my telepathy as I'm just focusing. And that's not a spell.
Cool. Yeah. And you just pass it to them. They all hear that you have read his mind, and he is thinking, what are you really? This could be fun.
Hey, Julian, do you mind telling me exactly why you decided it was your responsibility to peer into my most private slumber and direct us here when we were heading here anyways? That did not feel fun, if you ask me.
You seem like a very fun, exciting bunch. You seem like playing a game could be entertaining finally. But also, you seem like you could be dangerous.
Only to people who are dangerous to me. I follow a strict code of pacifism unless provoked. Although what provokes me is obtuse.
I don't know if this is like a Arcana check or a religion check, but can Proxima like think real hard about her knowledge of like trickster gods in her like
Sure.
timeline?
That'd be a religion check.
Okay. Oh, that's a nat 1. So cool. All right, got it out of the way.
Yeah. So yeah, you try to think about your and it's, it's a what is your do you have a plus to religion?
Yeah, +2, so it's 3 total.
Yeah, and so the idea, like you think for a moment about like the gods or anything, because I assume you're trying to probe like what is Julian, right?
I'm more trying to figure out like if you meet a fairy, you don't eat the food, right? So Proximus trying to remember like he wants to play a game. What rules do I remember about
games?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't remember the rules. You haven't quite encountered something like this. So yeah, and that's how we play that, because it's not like you just suddenly forgot. You're like,
Yeah.
is there a rule I've heard of? But nothing's
Yeah.
coming to mind right now.
Okay.
And to your response then, yes, you could be dangerous to those who pose a threat to you. But I've done a pretty good job of taking care of things here. I'm the king after all. And I don't mind guests. Guests can be fun. But he looks over at Amir. I do tend to keep an eye on things. You know that man lived though, right? No thanks to you. And Amir just kind of looks down as he's just said that man lived. And you recall that you met Amir as he had slammed someone against the wall asking for information. And Julian has called that out.
Well, yeah, we could potentially be some unsavory folk, but we've all done some unsavory things in our time. For instance, you peering into my private knowledge. How much did you learn from my dreams that we had? Do you remember what you made us see?
The better question, I think, is how much did you learn, Gallagher? From the sounds of it, you might have pieced a face to a name. So you're welcome.
I did not give you my consent to peer into my brain and put information together that I did not put together myself. I will figure things out at my own pace, even if it takes a while.
Bucket's gonna
longer
go
than
grab
most.
Gallagher and it's like, Gallagher, it's okay. We'll figure it all out. Don't let him get to you. He's trying to rile you up again. We talked about this.
I know.
Proxima like
you're right.
mom arms the both of them. Just a hard mom arm. Is there a mom arm check? It's a mom arm. And she says, we have not come looking for a fight. We have not come to offend or to hurt you in any way. But what we are looking for is answers. That is all that we want. We find ourselves in an incredibly unique position. We do not know what is going on. And so if you have answers, what kind of game do you want us to play? We offer nothing but questions and confusion. What use can we be of to you?
Well, I'll be right to the point. On our little visit earlier, I noted something. You can't read something.
We cannot.
I'm sure it would help you if you knew what it meant.
And you can?
I certainly know what that symbol is.
And what do you want for it in return? That information.
I want to know what you really are. I want to know. And in this moment, he looks at all of you. Make a wisdom saving throw with advantage due to Taika.
Thanks, Taika.
Do I also make that as well?
All of you.
Okay.
That is a 20 for me.
15.
That is a 23.
Shit. That was a 10.
And does anyone want to?
Can I use my inspiration on that,
Oh,
pretty please?
If he's
Is
trying
that
to
a-
charm us or anything, I'm immune to charming because I'm half.
Yeah.
elf.
Is inspiration just a D4 or is it a reroll here?
Yeah, it's a D4.
Oh, never mind. I'm
D4.
going to fail no matter what. Okay. That's a 5.
Okay. Is anyone using their inspiration or leaving it at that?
I'm gonna do it.
I'm happy with a
Okay.
23.
Oh god. Hold on, I broke it. Come on. Fuck. That's an 11.
There are ways I can help, but I want to save it until I know what's happening.
Okay. And all of you on this get to add a D4. Everyone except Taika gets to add a D4 to their roll regardless.
I you know what? You keep saying I should do that. I'm just gonna do it anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying you get to right now, not the chats. I mean, I am telling you to add a D4 regardless to
Okay.
your roll right now.
Okay.
Then
that's
my roll is
23
18
then.
total.
26 then.
Mine was 15 then.
Okay. And what is yours, Danny?
18 total.
Okay. And Taika, you see in that moment that enchantment magic fade away on everyone. As
Guided.
you had tipped the tree and gotten a little bit of a boost, only Gallagher withstands this with a 26.
God damn.
As the rest of you feel a frightening presence. As Julian leans forward and says, I want to know if you are a threat to the people of Bramble. As this moment hits all of you, this terrifying feeling, Gallagher, you feel it set in, but you're not quite scared, but you felt the presence of it. Bucket, it hits and then washes over, but the others are frightened of Julian as he asks, are you a danger to the people of Bramble?
Gallagher's gonna raise one of his astral arms and be like, whoa, I need you to back up about like 10 feet. You are way too close to my personal space right now.
Bucket's gonna do the same thing because they're still holding hands. He's gonna hold up the other hand and be like, "A danger." Listen, we don't want to hurt anyone, let alone innocent civilians, right? You yourself, though, seem like you're more of a danger to everyone else than we are at this point. Doesn't
You
that seem
seem
right,
like a-
best friend?
That is entirely true, best friend. You seem like a hazard to yourself and others.
And Julian takes 10 steps closer to you.
Did we listen? Do you not know what personal space is? He just asked you to back away.
So, the best way I found to judge a person's character is through playing a game.
What is your game?
Well, I like things that are extraordinary. So, let's do something exciting. Follow me. And Julian walks past you all and turns right out the door and then turns to keep walking down the hallway like the direction you had come from if you had gone past this room and kept going. So he goes out of this doorway and turns left.
I guess before we leave, I'm gonna check up on everyone else and like, y'all good?
And
Does
by
everyone
this
get-
point now, the fear is fading away.
Red. Very, very careful. Do not
I have
approximate like just fucking dead eyes, Gallagher. Do not say anything. Yes, that you will regret later on.
I regret none of my actions.
I take full responsibility and accountability, but I do not care.
I regret nothing. I will do my best. But but if I can't even regret my death, I'm not gonna regret this one.
Gallagher's gonna walk proudly, confidently after Julian.
And
Potentially
Julian
lose that.
rounds the corner and heads deeper into the cave. And you can see that Julian is not using any light source or anything. He's just walking. and descends deeper and deeper. And it feels like you're walking for a few minutes until you come to a spot. And those of you who have some light source or dark vision see as Julian places his hands up on the wall and pushes it, and it slides to the side, revealing a hidden chamber. And as he walks inside, you can see the shine coming from in here of jewels and gold and pearls and all sorts of trinkets. And Julian walks in and says, "So, this is probably the safest place to play our game."
Keep saying this game as if we know what it is. Is it chess? What's happening?
It could be chess. It's really up to you. I have something you want as the prize. You just have to entertain me.
All right, everyone huddle real quick.
Okay, if it's entertainment he wants, Taika, we got this in the bag. You're a magician.
Taika kind of does a little bow.
And he looks over and says, "I like things to be exciting or dangerous. I don't get a lot of fun around here. Protecting is its own sort of entertainment, sure. But I'm older than most."
You hear a chuckle from Doc.
I know I don't look it, but
You hear another chuckle come
Oh
from
no, yeah,
Doc.
that's not what he was talking about. You're fine.
he looks around, and I've acquired many things over time. But I always enjoy something new. So, shall we play a card game? And he
No.
looks at Taika.
No.
Taika first pulls out the non-deck of many things, starts to hand it over.
Aw.
Oh, you don't want this one, do you?
Oh, I smell something much more exciting.
I'll play the game.
No.
I will
can't.
play the game.
Gallagher, I can't let you do
Tyke-
this.
Bucket.
Taika
I
pulls.
can't.
Die.
Taika pull. He pulls out the deck, looks at Gallagher. Give it a few. What do you want with the deck?
I smell something of immense value. I haven't seen something like that in a very long time.
Well, why don't you pull from it? And
I'd
you-
certainly like to.
Doc looks over. And you see he's been kind of chill and relaxed. And you see him take on a very serious face. I do not know what games you want to play, but we are not pulling from that deck.
Oh,
And he stares directly at Julian.
Well, if you let me have one, I'll tell you what the symbol says. If you draw one, I'll tell you the secret of this town.
Do we care about the secret of this town, guys?
No.
All right, you pull.
I do. I care. I want to know.
Listen, Gallagher, listen.
Mm-hmm.
He said he doesn't want a danger to this town. If we pull from this deck, we could become a danger to this town.
How do you know that? I'm a danger to myself, not others.
Yes, to yourself. But I say we have him pull. I don't want any of us getting hurt, and if we can limit it, it's something good or terrible is going to happen to him, not to us.
This deck literally took everything from me days ago.
And I have nothing to own.
You have me, Gallagher.
I never had a friend before.
Don't do this. I can't lose you.
I see
From
now what I'm putting in
everything
the line.
I've seen so far, a group of interesting travelers come, not a day aged since the first time I saw them 5 years ago. And unique energy coming off of several. In a town where the presence of a god is felt. 2 to be exact. And you do know that strange figure from your dream, that that galaxy-looking one. You know he's in town, right?
I look over. Gallagher looks over to Proxima and goes,
And Doc there. I apologize. We're not quite friendly. Dr. Raphael Lorcan, was it? Half of those members you saw in the mist are also here. I'm not quite sure why the others were shown to you. I'm not sure who they are, but half of those members who walked in that mist are in this town. And, well, it seems we've already found an interesting connection for our ship captain here. Present in town.
Oh, okay. Wait, what?
As he is acknowledging that there's someone you know in town. But he doesn't say it out loud for some reason.
I was like, what? Who? And then I'm dumb.
She's in the room.
And he
In town?
says,
Really?
I may not know what you all are, but I may know what's drawn you all here.
You speak of gods. And what I just heard is that fate has all brought us here. So is there a god of fate?
This town has many secrets, and I've told you the price of them.
And you are very well aware of what the potential of pulling from that deck is.
I am indeed.
Here's what I do not understand then. You want to pull from the deck. Yes, that's on the table.
Yes, I'll even go first.
But if you do that, you know that you could just die, right? Like you could just explode. Like that's the thing. So what do we get? What assurance do we have that you even survive this card draw in order to tell us anything?
I guess that's the fun, isn't it? Unless you'd like to change the rules a little bit.
What do you have in mind?
Info up front.
If you draw one card, I'll answer both questions first. Then permit me to draw as part of the deal. And I am a king of my word.
I'll do
Look.
it.
No,
We are not
Proxima, you are here for a
drawing
reason.
from the card deck.
I've been there and back again. If I die, I train him once more.
We came here.
You need to
for
find out who
answers.
killed you, though. Gallagher, Proxima, you two need each other.
If I go, all that's gonna happen is I'm gonna go back and with my ghost, and we're gonna fight it out for eternity, as I'd already planned.
You might not
Hey,
go
go-
see your ghost. You might get trapped somewhere.
Taika, are the deck?
Return.
Is the deck out?
Yeah, Taika is holding the deck. It is
How tightly is he holding it?
very tightly.
Sorry, no mage hands.
I will agree to King Julian's terms. Whatever happens to me, happens to me.
Gallagher, you need to find this. You need Proxima, and Proxima needs you. You are connected somehow. Do you understand that?
Bucket. It's time we gotta do what's right for the mission. You need Lorcan, you need Taika, they need you, and they need Proxima. The services
at
I
this point,
provide is
someone
minimal.
chimes in and says, "I'll just do it."
No! No!
And
As-
Alunon chimes in saying that she'll draw from it. And
Absolutely not.
Proxima,
You
and
stay out of this.
can I roll? Do I even need to roll a perception check? Because
No.
Proxima's not an idiot.
No, you've all understood that he knows her somehow, and at that freak out, you would be able to piece a good amount of it together. Because he's a half elf and she's a full elf. And he leans over to Bucket and says, "And wouldn't you like to know why it's so frustrating that you can't read it? Frankly, it should probably bother you and Miss Alunon quite a bit."
Quite.
What's
Amir, how
Amir
would you like to
doing?
pull this? Yeah, Amir,
And-
what do you think?
If no one is willing to do this,
I
I
am
have
willing.
questions I
Gallagher,
need.
no.
I will draw. from that.
Everyone, shut up. This is not a game. This is not a time to be curious about things.
But do we have an option, Doctor?
As
Do we
the
have an
only
option?
one who knows what this deck truly can do,
As the only one who isn't willing to find answers, I find this quite.
I cast momentary stasis on Bucket. You need to make a. Sorry, you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution, got you.
Gonna freeze him in time for a second.
Just for a second.
That is an 18.
Ooh, nice. Hey, you roll that again though, as I cast Chrono Shift.
Oh God!
That is an 18.
Nice.
No.
I'll accept. No, I'll accept it. Look, the dice are the dice.
Yep.
All right.
Because
Because be like, I understand your worry, Doctor. But at this point in time, we do not have any further options, and I appreciate your fear and your concern. But we are not going forward without this. If you are not happy, you may go.
Say is that as one of the ones who understands this, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to.
No! Gallagher is
Doc,
angry.
Are you sure?
Why does everyone get rights to what they want except for me? Everyone gets to do what they want except for what I want.
Everyone else gets to die except you.
Because you just got married, now shut up.
It's a friendship ring.
Okay, so Gallagher and or Doc, what are you doing?
I look over at Taika, and you can read. You don't need an inside check. You can tell I don't want to deal with this, but this is not. He is taking responsibility of the potentiality that might happen.
I think that Taika looks over at Proxima for kind of like approval of Doc.
Proxima literally throws up her hands, like just.
You look at Gallagher and you see a man who has stared death in the face far too many times and does not fear anything, including existential dread.
I'm just gonna look. Hold on. I'm just gonna look at Taika. I'm like, Taika, it's your deck. What do you want?
Like Taika kind of just like he's just, and he holds the deck out to Doc.
He takes the deck.
Doctor?
He looks at Gallagher. I understand you're curious. This is not something I would want you to gamble your life over.
With all due respect, I disagree. But you may draw. I will withdraw.
And he goes back onto Bucket's back.
All right. So I have in my hands the 20 remaining cards, the 21 remaining cards, as King of Spades has been removed.
Well, so technically, was this deck an entire 52 card deck that then has cards interspersed in it? Or did this deck turn into the 20 whatever card deck when it became the deck of many things? I was under the impression that it was still a full-size deck, and I randomly pulled the King of Spades in the first one, which is what I did. Okay.
Yep. It is a full-size deck still.
Is it just it's just a draw, right? There's no like check or anything.
It's just a draw.
Fuck me all the way up.
All right. I guess Bucket's gonna look at everyone else and be like, Doctor, good luck. And he's gonna get his hand on his rapier, just ready to kill something or anything.
No,
Hmm?
your move.
He looks at the cards. And he like holds them like in front of him. And then the mage hand comes off and grabs the top card.
Okay. And as you grab the top card, it's a mostly full deck. So, Taika, please give yours a quick shuffle and then draw the top card. And
I hate
tell
this
us.
so much.
Give it a cut. Okay.
Yeah. And the top card is the Ace of Diamonds.
Hearts.
Ace of Hearts.
Yep.
And as you draw this card, you draw the Fates. Reality's fabric unravels and spins anew, allowing you to avoid or erase one event as if it never happened. And as you grip this card, that energy runs through you, and you see 13 figures appear on the card. And they nod. And you are now aware you could erase something from history if you wanted to, and you do not need to use the card right now.
Oh shit! Activate the Omega 13.
That's my name.
The city of knowledge, guys. The fall.
So you now are able to undo or avoid an event. And
On the fall.
Julian looks over and says, well, that didn't seem so scary.
Because as we just spoke of, fate is here. And fate apparently is on our side.
It would appear so. So, as a king of my word, shall I give you your information now?
Yes. Right,
Yes.
absolutely. And just Bucket's gonna bring out all the papers and just smack it down like, now tell us everything.
And as he looks down and he glances at the works, he says, so this first caught my attention. That symbol, well, it's very old. Specifically, that's the marking of the god of destruction. Well, little g, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't remember how to say it, as that seems to have been plucked from my mind, which is not very easy to do. But what I can say is I know what it is, because I was there. It seems whatever this magic is that prevents me from speaking it out loud, from saying the name of the god of destruction, doesn't erase my knowledge of it or that it happened. I'm old enough to have been around before the fall of the gods. Nasty business, really. But that god of destruction, he hated his humanity. A demigod started out, if I remember right. When he learned about his lineage, decided to become more than that, to fulfill his ability to become a deity. Demigods are like that sometimes. But he wanted to be so far removed from his humanity that he wanted to destroy it. Now, I'm a little fuzzy in all the details on how that was prevented, but him and that crown of his were a very nasty business, I'm told. Now, that's about what I can tell you. But that symbol, it's backwards. The symbol for gods is hidden underneath destruction as opposed to on top of it. So technically, what you have written there says destroyer of gods, not god of destruction. But that is his symbol. So I don't know what good it does you, but yes, I've seen it around. I remember seeing it hanging on a poster in town a few years back. So that is information number one. Now, as promised, the secret of the town. One last little bit. That symbol is hidden by some sort of magic, preventing me from telling you his name. That's Fey magic. There's a lot of power in a name. And being able to take someone's away, well, I can only imagine what that would do to a god. But that's Fey magic if I've ever seen it. So, most of you wouldn't have a chance in hell of reading it. But judging by the pointed ears, I assume something inside of you gnaws at wanting to be able to read it. Almost feels like you should be able to read it, doesn't it?
Something like that.
It's because of your bloodline. But you're a little too far from the source to be able to actually lift it. The power of that. Excellent. It is quite powerful. So, to the Fae who has cast such a spell, congratulations. As for the town, I promised you information there.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
So, just so I'm understanding this, the symbol, whoever is preventing Julian or anyone from realizing or saying the name of the god of destruction is some kind of Fey magic. Correct.
Yep. Fey magic is used. Any motions to the rest of the papers, I can't read those either. But I guarantee you they're talking about the crown that he stole from the god of Forge. The ability to harness other powers placed inside of it. It's all that thing was for him. But again, I can't read it. It seems anything about him was scrubbed. And that magic has Fey written all over it. And the only reason I offer to tell you about the town is A, I'd like to sweeten the deal, but B, I kind of want to know. This town is not what it appears to be, if you haven't noticed. Many of us interesting creatures are drawn to it or end up here for one reason or another. You know, not long ago, I believe a god of nature passed through. I wasn't here for it, but you can certainly see the remnants. Something sits atop this town. You can't see it, and you can barely sense it. But when you look out from this mountain down upon that land, I can see glimmers of it. It's almost like a whole other city sitting on top of this one. But again, that same magic seems to be sealing it away. But whatever it is, it seems to call to people. At least that's my guess. I ended up here by chance, or so I thought. And then chance encounter after chance encounter. So I set up in order to watch over this place. For whatever befalls this town seems to be nothing of their doing, but something otherworldly.
Second question. He keeps saying he's old and he said he's been around. What exactly is King Julian? Or what can I ascertain from what he said, what I know about history, how long I've been a part of Gravvicon? Like, what is this person? Because it's not.
Make an Arcana check.
Ooh, that's actually really good. Math. 26.
So with the age and the mist and the glowing jewels and the fear that came off of this being and the blessings, you're starting to piece together this creature before you is masquerading as a young boy. And you know that. You can tell that. But looking around at all the gold and the rubies and the hidden deep within a cave,
The dragon?
you're piecing together dragon.
The question is, what kind? They seem chaotic in nature, but they also seem like they're trying to protect people more than themselves, which makes me wonder, like, bronze or gold. And there was...
Now, with an Arcana check of that number, 26 is fairly high. I'm going to just flat out say, in relation to the effects happening in the area, you would attribute those to gold.
And sorry, one last thing. I can also assume ancient, not adult.
Correct.
Thank you. You've obviously been here a long time. Perhaps, and he says that very specifically, perhaps longer than most of us.
Perhaps.
And you know more than what you have led us to believe, but we aren't going to pry for every piece of information you have. I doubt you have that patience. He looks over at Bucket and Proxima, and he gestures to the book. What information specifically do we need?
Do you know what it is?
May I? And he motions to the book.
I'm gonna look around at everyone to get their like approval, and then I'll.
Yeah, Gallagher's gonna give Bucket a nod, and like with an astral arm is gonna hand it over to Julian.
And he
read this.
reaches out.
Read this story and It may give you some knowledge as to the knowledge that we are looking for.
And he takes the book and he looks over it. And again, reading through it, flips through. A celestial magic book. Interesting. And begins paging through it, reading the story of Gravvicon the cat, taking the book to a couple of strangers and asking for help to find it. And thinking, is that me?
Yeah, the little snake is you. You're the sneaky one, the serpent.
How intriguing. You do know many things, don't you, book? And seeing that the snake is pointing you in a direction, he says, so I'm to give you guidance then. And he shuts the book
Gallagher will pick it up and take it back.
and hands it back to you.
Gallagher has book now.
Well, if you're looking for the home, I assume you're drawn to the hidden city as well. You know, just the other day, yesterday in fact, I sensed an opening into that realm for the briefest of moments. But before I could investigate, it seems to have vanished.
Where was it?
I believe that was a friend coming through the wall.
Ah, yeah.
So you have someone capable of planar travel.
Well, not necessarily. We were introduced to some strange jaguar-like beasts that appeared through a wall. The spot still remains, actually, the space where they came through. Somewhat.
Well then, I do love a good story. And he turns and walks over to a pile of things that is covered in jewels and pots and spears just laying over. And he reaches his hand deep inside and he pulls out an amulet. You know, I'm not one to give up things. And as he begins walking forward, twirling this amulet around his finger. But if whatever you're here for helps keep this place intact, then perhaps it's not so much as me losing a treasure, and more so me investing in the people here. And he extends out an amulet.
Yes,
Um,
Gallagher will
God.
take it and give a bow for his shoulder.
What does it do?
Taika, can you detect what kind of magic is on this amulet?
Is detect magic still active, or
It's probably been
would
more
it
than
have
10
left?
minutes.
Cool. I'll just cast it again. Just spell slot it.
Sure. Yeah. And as you spell slot it, you definitely get some teleportation magic coming off of this. And he says, so, if you have finally found a doorway, this may serve as a key. It can only take you somewhere you've seen. I cannot enter a place I've never seen, so it still remains a mystery to me.
Well, we saw through that gateway once. I'm pretty sure that counts as seeing something, doesn't it?
So long as you can focus it in your mind, that amulet'll do the trick, regardless of what plane it's from. As you have just been handed an amulet of the planes.
Nice.
Now, I believe I've done my part. Is there anything else you'd like to ask, lest my game not go so well?
You said that there was someone in town. A man with stars under his skin.
Yes, but he doesn't look like that now.
What does he look like? Where can I
Child.
find him?
Child.
For some reason, he's found his way to town and has joined the serpents.
Kid.
As a child, as I am one to watch over the youth of this area in particular.
But what is he doing here?
Oh, based on his snooping about and maneuvering, which he believes I'm unaware of, I assume he's looking into me, or something about the town. Many people come and inspect the town. Whatever he's up to, he's tethered to something, and seems to be somewhat protecting him.
Well, if you ever do see him again, do you mind informing him that he's a terrible assassin?
Well, if he attempts any of that here, I'm sure I'll be having a conversation with him.
Game time, everybody.
Give him a card.
Well, I do enjoy a little bit of luck, so I'll take the 7th card from the top.
I think Doc still has the deck, right?
Yeah, I do.
And so, if you
And
would...
I will. Knowing what he is, knowing what they stand for, he lets out a sigh, but it's not a sigh of annoyance. It's a sigh of just acceptance. And he's going to mage hand the deck back to Taika. Allow Taika.
Okay. Taika pulls the deck out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he holds it out to Julian.
And Julian steps forward and places 2 fingers on the deck. And he looks you directly in the eyes as he says, "Now, it seems I'm not the only one here to protect the children." And he draws the card.
It's a Joker.
Oh, fuck me.
And as he draws that Joker,
Wow.
you see his eyes flash as he's drawn the Jester. And you feel a buildup of energy inside the room. And 2 more cards pull off of the deck into his hand.
You want me to tell you what they are?
Yeah, pull off the first one.
First one, 3 of clubs.
And the 3 of clubs pulls up and falls to the ground as nothing happens.
Oh, thank fuck.
Second one, Ace of spades. That does something. I know it does.
Ace of spades.
Oh no!
And you watch
This is the bad one. This is the bad
as
one.
Julian disappears. And with a smile across his face, he says, "Good game," and vanishes.
What happened?
As the energy emanating off of that card shows
That was the worst one.
an image of a sphere with Julian suspended in it incapacitated, held somewhere far away.
I feel kind of bad for Julian now.
As Julian has been whisked away to an extra-dimensional sphere.
That's one way to take.
Take all his shit. Let's go.
I know. There's so much gold here. Let's go.
Let's go.
You get the EXP.
And so, a ancient gold dragon has been removed from this plane.
Can we just beat a dragon without, like, casting anything?
I say we get the experience. You know, I'm that's what I'm saying.
That.
So, as the protector of this world, of this area, is gone,
Oh no.
I was afraid of this.
Yeah.
you feel a pressure. It feels a little hard to breathe. It feels like you've just climbed a mountain for hours. It's nothing truly physical, but something is weighing on you. What would you like to do?
Do you want to undo that?
Oh yeah, no.
Well, that means we would get the cards back, which would be the Djinn and the Jinn, and then just it would all get reversed.
But would we have the knowledge that we started?
He would
with,
just have to pull. He would just pull again. It reverts the thing. No, it erases it. So it would have never have happened. He would never been gone. We would still have the information. But if we erase the event of him pulling that card,
Do we want to take him out of space jail? I don't know what the move is.
I guess we turn to Doc and like, Doc, this is your choice.
The question is, not the metagame. What other character would know what my card was?
I think no one would know.
Oh.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
That
they're
could-
allowed to ask you, like, is there anything
Of course,
you can
no,
do?
yeah, I'm not trying to stop
But,
our
yeah.
people.
Is there
I
anything
realize,
you in
like,
particular can do to help?
Can you
Would-
rewind time?
Would any of us
Can we get that back?
Would any of us know that what the card actually did and brought him to another plane? Would we know that specifically?
Well, all of his clothing and everything has remained, and several little trinkets and stuff are
And-
just there on the ground.
And we saw him encased.
Yeah. So you see encased, in there, a figure wrapped in a sphere, and you can see the silhouette of.
They,
Yeah, you
uh,
can see the silhouette of Julian. So you can see that in the card.
I'd say
Oh,
Taika just turns his head to the amulet. He said if we see it, we could go. And he holds up the card that has him encased in it.
Doc points to who has the book?
Gallagher
Gallagher.
right now.
Gallagher. Doc points to Gallagher. Open the book.
Right here.
Gallagher's gonna open the book and gonna start flipping and see if anything else has happened.
And in the back of the book, a new page has appeared. The last time you saw, the dragon pointed you in a direction. The serpent pointed, and you were directed somewhere. And it shows the figures holding up an amulet. But as you turn the page, their destination is cut in half as a door is opened. And in the top half, you can see a strange wasteland with a sphere in the background and half of the silhouette. And in the bottom half, You can see the bottom rows of shelves holding many books.
We have a choice, it seems. We can either go rescue Julian, or we can continue with our quest.
I
Bucket's
don't want to be this person, but Doc, maybe you have the most insight on this. What would be the repercussions, time-wise, if we left the city unprotected for, say, a few days? Not for very long. Do we know? Is there a way to find out?
You see Doc visibly is like struggling mentally. Cannot change what would have been. Deck was new, but the deck might have materialized.
The deck was my fault.
And we also delivered the deck. I see this as no different than the creation of the S.
But that's the point. There's no repercussions. We saw what happened as the woman got too close. Saw what happened when things we influenced became too prominent. But this is more than anything we've done so far, and yet nothing. What's this meant to be? And if so, do we right that? Fix that?
I guess Bucket's gonna look at the cards and the amulet. He's gonna like, we have a job to do, and he's gonna take the book and he's like, we were sent here for a reason. Doc should know that of all people. We all know this.
But the people of this town are innocent. They have done nothing wrong. And I doubt that all of them know that any
What
of
is more
this-
important, all of reality, or some people? I don't like this as much as you do. We
You
have
know,
a
Bucket makes a good point. These people are a subset of reality, so it's probably best if we take care of the larger problem.
Doc, the last time we got too close to interfering, someone almost died. If there is an entire town that is now going to be interfered with, anything could set off a chain of events far beyond the scope of our comprehending or our control. So
That's
do we?
what I'm saying. You would think the spiral would have begun. Starting here, in this cave, in this place. And what I'm talking out of my ass right now, do I feel like when I forgot her name, Shauna, Shade, her
Stara.
Stara.
Thank you. When she was going through it, and Doc started seeing the world starting to shift and stuff just being wrong. Am I getting any of that vibe right now?
Make a perception check.
Could Gallagher
This is
also
serious.
make that perception check?
Yeah, all of you. Give me a
Oh,
perception
alright,
check.
stopped.
Ooh.
18.
Oh, 9.
Oh, Jesus fuck. That's a nat
25.
I'm using my chrono shift.
Cool.
I want a better roll.
Sick.
Okay,
Love
that's
that
much
for
better.
us.
That's a 21 for me.
All right,
20
21 for you, 25 for Taika. What did you get for Gallagher?
18.
Okay, and then it was a 9 and a 1 for
Yeah.
Bucket. And okay,
Mhm.
so the two of you, and this is good because the reasoning is you're talking to Doc. You're like, look, here's our thoughts. One of you saying we got to save, Bucket saying we got to work to do, Doc is trying to think it through, and Gallagher and Taika sort of looking around are noticing the glow from the gems is starting to fade. And there
Did I not
is
notice that? Sorry.
Yes, you noticed that
Oh,
too.
okay. Sorry.
And there is a shadow that casts over as this place starts to get dimmer and darker. And again, you feel a heaviness. You feel it's almost like you're about to be afraid.
But is that the feeling? Is that feeling similar to what I felt before? He's trying to associate this with Gravvicon.
It's not
Interfering.
associated with Gravvicon, no.
And see, and that's the part.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Doc is not feeling Gravvicon's repercussions, no.
Which means nothing was wrong. Nothing has changed in their eyes. Which meant this was meant to happen.
Taika kind of looks around, Julian's magic is fading. Something's coming, and it's dark, and it's scary. I'm not sure we want to be here when it gets here.
But the people.
And it's also worth mentioning the fact that if we don't rescue Julian, there's also a very real chance that our mission could become jeopardized. Julian was keeping the town safe. Our mission takes place in the town. Are we capable of holding off whatever Julian was holding off? I don't think so.
Our mission started in the town. Our mission is on itself.
Our mission is to find the place of this book.
It may be
And
in the
there is
same
a way we can
location,
get there.
but the town it's a different town. It's a different place. It's
Let us
don't know
leave
how to
this
say it.
place. Let's leave. Gather our thoughts. Rescuing him is not off the table. But speaking plainly, Gravvicon has not interfered.
What?
Which means this was meant to be. Whether it was us or not.
All right. Just get out of here.
Okay. And so you leave the treasure room? Yeah?
Gallagher, are
And-
you gonna walk out of the treasure room without anything?
Can I look around and see if there's any cool magic items as I take a wistful?
Is there a glove that catches souls?
Is there a
Roll
soul
a-
catch?
Roll
Can we
a
all-
perception
can we all
check.
roll?
Yeah,
Can
can
we
we all
all
do
roll?
it?
Yeah, you can all roll.
Yeah,
because
we
you're
all
on the way
want
out.
treasure.
Nat 20, 31.
Yeah,
Okay.
I only got an 18, no close to an 20.
Yeah, it's a 15 for Taika.
Yeah, so that's an 8. That's a 21 from me.
I'm not doing anything, but Galileo is. I don't think.
Flag is
Yeah.
rolling around in a pile of money right now. Just
Well,
Yeah.
I have advantage for him.
So for Gallagher, as
That's
you are
actually-
with ideas of gloves or things like that in the mind, you do see a pair of gloves laying on a knocked over pedestal. And it looks like they perhaps are just kind of tossed in here as just like a thing. But as you look at them, there is a wave of just energy that runs over them and it catches your attention. Proxima, what was your roll?
Proxima got a 12, but Proxima is so worried about the implications of the townspeople. She doesn't care about gold right now. She's worried about the orphanage full of children.
Yeah, and you definitely see several items in here, and you see a rack of weapons that is sitting back here that kind of catches your eye. But you see that. Danny, what did you get?
21.
Yeah, so with a 21, as Bucket goes to walk out of here and decides to look around, Plague has looked at a strange cat statue that Plague is looking at, and there are markings on one half of the cat, and it is pristine on the other.
How big is the cat statue?
It is a. It's about 4 inches tall.
I'm taking it.
Okay. And Taika, what did you roll?
15.
Okay. And yeah, as a 15, as you are leaving here, you see several little daggers near the door that were just kind of shoved out of the way, it looks like. And several of them are giving off different colored glows. One is light blue, one is green, one is red running down the tip of the blade.
Gonna grab the light blue one.
Okay. And Doc is not checking, but Galileo is.
Galileo got a 21.
Okay. And Galileo, looking around here, sees a book that is bound with several different locks. And being the owl of a wizard, would note a spell book when they see one.
I think Galileo would relay that to Doc.
Yeah.
And he just stops.
There seems to be a book, not too different from a wizard back home's that I recall, but it is got interesting clasps and locks all across it.
Mage hand.
And you bring the book with you.
This was meant to be. Perhaps this was meant to be.
And
Proxima watches everybody just raiding the shit out of this place, and she's like, "Fucking fine," and she just like takes one of the swords.
yeah, and you go to you take a sword.
Yeah.
So Proxima, you go to grab a sword, and as you grab it, there's a brief moment. And as your hand grips it, something in your mind asks, why are you worthy?
Mjolnir?
Proxima like hesitates for only a second, and she says, "Fuck." She says, "I may not be the most worthy, but the sword without the user is just decoration. May I honor you with at least some use someday, my friend?"
Let your judgment begin. And the other 5 swords
Oh fuck, shit, fuck.
on it slide over and assimilate into this one sword.
What?
And the 5 swords vanish inside of it. And you suddenly are able to withdraw it from it. And you have a sword.
Can I try asking the sword its name?
And do you think that?
Yeah, I just say.
Or do you say it out loud?
I just say, are you called anything?
You may call me Spectre.
Talking sword, bitches! Oh! Fuck yeah.
And do you all leave?
Yes. I
Yes.
take my gloves though as I see them, and I put them on.
Okay.
As well.
Excellent. Yes. And you put them on and you feel something rush through your body as you all start to head out of this cave and you get out of the exit and you see that several of the kids that were playing in there have left and something is some reason they all took off. And as you get outside, you all look down upon the mountain and the mist is gone. And clouds are rolling in over. And a lightning bolt strikes down and hits one of the fields nearby. And you see the shadow of a giant creature with huge black wings. And that is where we end our stream today.
I'm sure the talking sword will save us.
Or we head out with an epilogue as always, everybody. So Gravvicon cracks a smile. And many years in the future, ducks and dodges as an attacker has found them. You know, not being able to see you does make this rather tiresome. And Gravvicon jumps up to then stand atop the ceiling looking down, and with a twist of his hands, out comes a deck of cards, and they scatter around, flying in every direction until 2 hit their mark. And he drops down and rushes and reaches out, and for a faint moment, tiefling horns take form across the top of his head as he touches, and suddenly inflict wounds, rips out and disintegrates this creature in front of him. Then something comes up behind him, but 2 astral arms tear out and catch it mid-air and snaps it. And he turns back and sees someone charging into this room as they have found Gravvicon. And suddenly a short sword calls to his hand, and half of his face turns skeletal as a black energy wraps over him, and he says, "Didn't mean to use all of it." And a slash and a slash and a cut down as he cuts this person down, but a sword cuts into him. And then suddenly that moment rewinds, and that sword comes to stab at him, and this time he dodges, allowing it to stab someone else, and he shoves them. Then opens up his mouth as electricity builds and lightning rips out. It seems you underestimated me. And a figure across the room, wearing a broken crown and spires sticking out of the top. Well, I won't do that again, Father.